All right, everybody, welcome back to the Aptitude Outdoors podcast. Thanks for tuning back in. With the 4th of July right around the corner, I've been saving this episode with Austin and Larry of Hero Hunt, Inc., which is an organization that takes veterans, first responders out hunting, builds community. Really great organization. If you haven't checked them out, you'll want to check them out after this episode. So let's dive right into it. This is the Aptitude Outdoors podcast, where we interview conservationists, hunters, anglers, and outdoorsmen and women to bring you the greatest stories, information, and advice from the best in the world. All right, well, gentlemen, welcome to the Aptitude Outdoors podcast. I really think what you're doing is good. I mean, a lot of people out there are, suffering. They need help, especially people that have been through some serious stuff, battle, military. I got family in the military. I got a cousin, Marine. Grandpa was a Marine. Other grandpa was in the Navy. And a lot of those guys, they just suffer internally for a long time. And for me, I've found that the greatest thing of my life is the outdoors. Hunting, fishing, even taking wildlife photos. It's everything to me. So how did you get involved with Hero Hunt?
Well, I guess I can tell you a little bit about how it started. And it'll lead into exactly how we got started. But Joe Towers, he's a Coast Guard veteran, a retired police officer out of Nashville, Tennessee, Metro Police Department. One day he just decided him and his wife wanted to host injured in the line of duty first responders and veterans that were have a disability rating. He wanted to do something to give back since he had a little farm. It wasn't supposed to be much more than a couple guys coming out and hanging out on the farm so he knows he did something. He reached out to a nonprofit, asked for some guys, that had been vetted and so on and so forth, and they didn't want to cooperate so well. So, his wife said, we're going to do it on our own. And that was in 2012, and today we're doing 45, 50 events a year, 400 or 500 people at a time. And as a ambassador of the program, I volunteer all my time because in 2019, I had never hunted before a day in my life. I don't like fishing and none of that stuff, but I had just retired from the Marine Corps and I was dealing with a lot of things, that we talked about. And they reached out and said, hey, come hang out with us. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know shit about hunting. I really don't like to fish, but you know what? I think I have an opportunity to be around some like-minded people that might do me some good. And on the flip side of that, you always have the wives telling you, get the hell out of my house. So I went and did it. And the rest is history. I've witnessed a lot of great things with the organization. I've witnessed what makes them different from everybody else. And I've met some great people.
Awesome.
And, Austin's one of those. I mean, he's a former Marine, never met in my life.
We met duck hunting out in Arkansas. I had already met, the guy that got him involved with this was Dustin, because he was going on something and called him and said, hey, let's go, or whatever. And we went out duck hunting, and the rest was history. We hit it off. I mean, as soon as you find out somebody's a Marine, you can either find out if they're a good Marine or a bad Marine real quick. And then you're either going to be friends or you're going to be like, I don't want to talk to this guy ever again. Yeah. And so, obviously, I still talk to him. So
that's the important part of these hunts and these events that Hero Hunts does. A lot of veterans are standoffish about, I don't want to go meet a new group. Yeah. I had my family and I lost that. I don't think I'll ever get that back. And then once you get them there, or you send them with someone that they already know, which is what Dustin did for me, the guy he mentioned. Yeah. He brought me along on that first one. And it kind of broke the ice a little bit. And then next thing you know, you're just everybody's family again. And unlike a lot of the organizations out there that are doing their part, bringing people on to hunts, getting them out in the woods, things like that, Hero Hunt is a little different in the sense of that one and done mentality is no longer, it's not there. Because it doesn't really do a whole lot in fostering healing. They bring you on one. They make sure you're on another one and another one. They're calling you at Christmas. They're calling you at Thanksgiving. They're, inviting you over to kayak. And they're always putting you in a position to meet somebody else and continue. You may not be on a hunt. And you may just be at someone's house hanging out. And you didn't. Most of the time, military members get out of the military. They think they're leaving something, and they'll never get back. Yeah. And this gives you a little bit of hope that, hey, I can be a normal person out here in the civilian world, and it works out great.
Yeah. Well, so you said you had never hunted. You weren't interested in it. No. You have hunted.
Yeah, I grew up in Michigan, and I hunted, but I was more where at.
I grew up southeast Michigan.
Okay, I grew up in Frankenmuth.
Okay,
don't hold that against
4 hours from me.
Yeah,
all right. I love Michigan.
I mostly grew up on the water because I love to bass fish and catch walleye and mostly eat walleye. But so I grew up doing it. But my recruiter kind of hook, line, and sinkered me when he showed me all the pictures of fishing and hunting he did all the way around the world and the country. And I was like, oh, that's gonna be me. And then the first time I went deer hunting in North Carolina, I was like, is that somebody's dog walking under me? Like, what is that tiny little thing? And I was like, that's not a deer. Like,
definitely not like the recruiting videos.
Yeah, I was like, that's a deer here? Like, that's tiny. I'm not gonna waste my time killing that thing. That's tiny. But so I didn't do a lot of hunting. I did some fishing, but when I got out, I moved to Tennessee, and I knew nobody. I met a guy at college. His name's Brad, and he was talking about hunting. And I was like, oh, yeah, where you go hunting around here? He goes, oh, I hunt with this group named Hero Hunt, He's like, you're a Marine, right? Yeah, you should sign up. And so I did. And then I was that standoffish veteran at my first hunt because I knew nobody. Everybody's talking. They'd been together, which is the cool part. Everybody had seen each other, met each other. So, like, everybody is a tight-knit group. And I was kind of off in the corner because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know how to break the ice. And I shot the biggest deer of the weekend the first morning, and that kind of broke the ice.
Showing them how it's done.
Yeah.
Like a true Michigander.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Asking him about the follow-up hunt.
Yeah, what was that like?
I shot a 3-point. I went from a 160-inch deer to a 3-point.
0 to 0, real quick.
But it's not the size that matters.
That's right.
Yeah. The meat all tastes good.
Yeah. There's a lot of deer in there.
Yeah.
But that's what makes those events great. I mean, we can bust each other's balls and do the same thing because dark humor in the military is a great thing.
Oh yeah,
we get to continue to do it. You can get around a lot of people and they not understand. This humor doesn't make sense. Yeah. Well, it makes a lot of sense to us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm not really known for the deer that I shot that first hunt as much as the fact that when I shot him, I crippled him, and he went running up a hill, and I shot from behind him. I clipped his balls. I took his balls off, so everybody gives me a hard time because they're like, oh, you castrated him. You didn't even, like, how terrible. And I'm like, well, I killed him. What did you kill? Like, so,
what a bad way to go.
Yeah, I know. It stands out when he does things because he always wins.
Yeah.
There's a bass fishing tournament this afternoon.
I already got my bass box sitting in the back.
I can't just throw bass.
Yeah.
Hey, I love hunting, I love fishing, and I love America. And with the 4th of July right around the corner, Uncle Louie's Fireworks wants you to celebrate this holiday responsibly. Uncle Louie's Fireworks is one of the only stores in the area that sells subtle fireworks, which emit less noise but still put on a great show so you can enjoy a fireworks display without alarming wildlife, sensitive pets, and people who are averse to loud noises. They also offer fireworks ignition systems that allow you to set off fireworks with your phone to assure you still have all those very valuable fingers come your favorite hunting and fishing seasons. Uncle Louie's Fireworks, located at 7300 Schnipke Drive, Ottawa Lake, Michigan, just off US 23 Exit 1, wishes you a safe and happy 4th of July.
I grew up with a lot of military members, so I have some of that dark humor ingrained to me. Sometimes I forget that the average person doesn't find some of that stuff funny, and I really gotta reel it in because I send some of those memes on social media to people that don't think that stuff funny, and they get mad. And
or they just don't respond. And you're like, that was funny. You should have at least got a laughing emoji.
It's a way to deal with the dark shit that you've had to deal with, and I think I love organizations that help people, and there's always people criticizing people in the military, and there's always people criticizing the police officers and the fire, everybody, these people that risk their lives a lot. There's flaws in everything, man, but
everything.
As individual people going across the world to dangerous places, to people that hate your guts. Yeah. And then you come home and people are still, pissed off. It's hard for people, man.
Yeah. That's another point that stands out about Hero Hunt. I mean, I'm always trying to figure out the ways that make them different. And this is one of them. they recognize the first responders, paramedics, EMTs, 911 dispatchers. They all need to be included in this mission because
they've seen trauma, they've heard trauma. I mean, nobody thinks of a 911 dispatcher, but they're the first line. Like when they get a phone call of something major going on in somebody's life, they're the one that have to deal with that until an officer shows up, and they have to live with that. And most of the time they don't have the outlets like what we do resource wise.
People relate veterans and PTSD and trauma and all that to just that community, and it's not the case. I mean, these first responders that are getting destroyed every day in the media and social media and things like that, they don't get the fair shake because they are out there day in and day out. And like I said, Joe was a Coast Guard veteran and a police officer for 28 years and seen a lot of things. So he recognizes that we have a much bigger mission than just dealing with a veteran community.
Well, I wish people would realize that just like it takes one bad hunter or one bad poacher, fisherman to ruin all the work we all been doing for conservation and positive change, it takes one bad person to ruin it. It takes one bad Apple officer or dude in the military to make everyone else look bad.
Exactly it.
And it's not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So like all of Ohio is getting all this crap because they had those big. Bro, you've heard about the walleye scandal, the giant wake.
Well, we're now from Michigan, so I'm sure we have the same opinion of Ohio. But
I have a complicated. I'm born in Ohio, moved to Michigan when I was young, moved back to Ohio.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
I love Michigan. It's a beautiful place.
It is beautiful, but I don't like the snow.
They're giving people a bad rap now. All this controversy, and it's like it was two dudes, and they cheated.
Almost every community has a 10% of bad apples, and the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, police departments, but anyone that out there that's passing that judgment, their community probably has those guys too.
So I'm sure you see a lot of success stories with what you do because the outdoors is just transformative. I think a lot of people they sit and especially if they're depressed or they're going through some like PTSD or something, and they don't have an outlet. They feel like they're just isolated and alone. When you're out in hunting with dudes in a duck blind, dude, you're like, holy shit, this is great. Mm-hmm. This is like, I'm outdoors, everything's calm, I got guns, I'm hanging out with dudes that like are just like me. That's what it's all about.
You may not see one duck that day,
but it don't matter.
But it was a huge success.
Yeah,
that's why the mission statement for the motto for Hero Hunt is not about the hunt; it's about the healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rings true every time I say it. Yeah. Like I said, I've never hunted until 2019. My kids hadn't had that opportunity, but none of it matters. Mm-hmm. We can go on a hunt and that's very successful.
Like him never hunting, he probably didn't have camo. He probably didn't have a rifle to hunt with, but that's one thing that we provide. Like we can facilitate all that stuff so you're comfortable and have that opportunity. And we're going to put somebody with you so that way you're not sitting there alone thinking like, what? I came out here and these guys just dumped me off in the middle. I don't know where I'm at, where I can so we'll put somebody with you, make you feel comfortable. Unless you're experienced and you're okay with sitting by yourself, then we're not going to force you to sit with somebody that might just, bother you. I don't know. So it's I like having two different perspectives in the room. Like I didn't start hunting until about 6 years ago. Okay. And I've been into the outdoors. I mean, growing up in Southeast Michigan, we lived in basically like a swamp, and it was part of the Great Black Swamp, essentially, of like Northwest Ohio has the Great Black Swamp. And, just living out in the outdoors is cool when you're a kid. I've always been like into the outdoor stuff. But when I found hunting, I didn't get to hunt as a kid. It was just, you got dad's trying to keep the house payment up and shit. He doesn't have time to take us out hunting. And when I found this as an adult, I'm like, dude, this changed everything. Mm-hmm. The community is great. The people just are super helpful. Like everybody here is just super cool, chill, and everybody's so willing to teach you stuff. So what have you gained from this personally? Well,
the number one thing I've gained outside of just having my community back is my relationship with my kids. Mm-hmm. My kids never hunted in their life also. We moved around, I think by the time my kids hit high school, they were in the ninth school. I was able to retire, move back to Middle Tennessee, and every first harvest that I've had and my daughters have been through Hero Hunt. And to finally give them something that they've seen all their friends do or social media promote of, little girls taking their first turkey or something like that, I finally got that memory. And I can't sit and think back of any of those fond memories, bonding between me and my kids that are greater than, having her out there on her first turkey or having her out there on her first deer or first duck. And she's done it all in 3 years. I mean,
she's killed more than Larry has.
Yeah. I mean, we have a buddy named Dustin that, that I've served with for a long time. Our kids grew up together and, they walk the walk and talk the talk when it comes to hunting, but my daughter is outshining them every day. I love pointing that out. So, Dustin, when you see this, remember.
Dustin doesn't kill anything either, so.
Well, on the flip side, you grew up, you got some outdoors experience.
Yeah.
How has joining the group helped you? Because, you could easily go out and hunt by yourself anytime you want.
I could, but I grew up my dad did cars, that was his big thing. My grandfather hunted, my uncle hunted, but they lived way up north. So to go out with them, it was a big ordeal. And so I started bow hunting. My parents would let me go bow hunting by myself rather than gun hunting. So I just bow hunted growing up. I saved up money, bought myself a bow, and that's what I did besides fishing. And I loved that. And now I like rifle hunting because I don't like to watch a deer suffer. I don't know. Yeah. I get too shaky with a bow still because I'm excited every time I see an animal.
Get your heart rate up.
Man, I have 8 acres at home, and the turkeys and deer are there. But when I'm out hunting them, I still it's like I can walk up to a deer almost at my house, and then I go out hunting and see a deer, and I'm like, oh boy, it just gets me excited. That's how much it excites me. But what Hero Hunt's done for me is given me the opportunity to hunt things that I hadn't been able to hunt before, and do things that I was kind of out of my comfort zone. So by meeting these guys around here, there's 6 of us going to Idaho this year to hunt elk.
Cool.
Self-guided. So
outside of Hero Hunt.
Outside of Hero Hunt. We all met through Hero Hunt, but that's one of the cool things about Hero Hunt is we've all met people, and there's a bunch of groups of dudes that really clicked, and now they're hunting together outside of Hero Hunt events, and they're able to bring other veterans in that they know, and so it's like a community within a community, and it's just growing and blossoming, and people are finding the outdoors, which is cool.
And that's a good angle for Hero Hunt, also being a nonprofit helping first responders and veterans. It's a double-edged sword because it's helping the wildlife community, the conservation, the education. There's a big misconception about veterans. First one is they know how to shoot. They can shoot. Suppressive fire is dominant in the military. So when it comes out here, they have to be taught everything. They have to be taught,
where to shoot,
practice and.
Is that an ethical shot?
Ethical shot, yeah. So, you are educating a huge community that never had that exposure. So it helps the wildlife world. It helps. For a great example in Tennessee is the TWRA, which is Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency. Okay. #1 overall supporter for Hero Hunt that I can think of. Yeah, we have some great sponsors that do some amazing things, but these people go above and beyond when it comes to education. They open up state parks to Hero Hunt only for That's conservation. Amazing. They teach us that how important it is to manage population, which then we go back to our families and explain to my kid that, hey, we just went out and the goal for the weekend was the doe closest to 80 pounds. Well, I don't want to shoot a doe. I want to shoot that thing with the big old horns. Yeah, she talks about. Or my wife says, catch them.
How many deer did you catch?
Yeah. So, the education alone is huge. TWRA does a great job of making sure that, everyone, they're given trapping classes. What is it?
They
tanning hides.
Tanning.
I don't know what that is, but they do all that stuff.
Yeah. During our hunts, they'll teach the wives. We have a women's hunt that's just women, so that way they're comfortable. They're not around a bunch of men that are being dumb men.
Yeah, being idiots.
Yeah. But they also, on these events, we typically have at least one TWRA agent, if not 10, 15, 20, because they like being there. They volunteer their weekends and their off time for us, but they'll show us how to process deer, how to debone them, how to age them properly. they bring in student biologists from the different colleges to cut their from UT Martin to cut out their thyroids and test them for CWD and all that stuff. And
so it's not just a bunch of guys drinking and hanging out.
Right. It's
a lot of stuff.
But there's some good conversations by the fire, and I mean, it's
it's similar for me. Like an event like this, I'm around people that like what I like. We talk about the issues that are important to us. But at home, I mean, my friends hunt, but they're not like, we're not talking about the ethical philosophy.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, they're just like, I want to go hunting, man. I want to go shoot stuff. And it's I'm in the blind, like, do you ever think about the ethical side of this? And they're like, shut up.
I'm gonna shoot. They're like, I'm gonna shoot it in the face.
Yeah. Like, dude, I don't care.
That turkey, I'm gonna use a big broadhead and wax its head off.
Yeah. Actually, the first time I was ever in a duck blind with Austin out in Edo, Arkansas, and TWRA brought along one of their wildlife biologists. He is one of the funniest persons that you could ever be in a blind with. But through his humor, he taught us so much about duck hunting, food plots. The whole time he was doing all the calling, everything. It was awesome. Yeah. But so he was able to put all that into one person, have all that humor and degeneracy that we like in the blind,
while educating us, but not by like boring us to death. So
that's what I tell people too. I'm like, I'm a goofball. I act like a weirdo. I make dirty jokes. Act like a maniac. But when it comes to hunting, man, I'm take that shit dead serious. But I want people to have fun too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't want people to have a bad time out there. So it's like, I think those group things are good too because you're actively learning with somebody. I think it's like. I don't know if you guys heard Todd's speech last night. He was talking about it's like it's our responsibility to get more people involved, and you guys are doing that, whether you know it or not. You're getting more people involved, and you're helping people, and that's what hunting's all about. It's not about me. Do I want to be the guy that gets the deer? I mean, hell yeah, I want to be the guy that gets the deer. But if my buddy can get it, I'm just as happy, man. Yeah. I'm just as happy.
So I'm very jealous in the background.
I'm jealous, but I'm happy for him.
I remember I had some permission to hunt some property growing up, and I've been hunting this one deer like all season, and I had one trail camera, and I'd go check it and stuff like that. And he was always showing up at a different spot on this property. And one time I had a buddy that had property way up north. It was like 4.5 hour drive. So I was like, yeah, you can come out. I let him sit in my blind. I moved somewhere else because I'd been seeing this deer move across here. And here I am, like half sleeping out there, and I hear bang, it wakes me up. And I look out in the field, and that deer's laying in front of me. It died in front of me. He shot it, and it ran over to me and died. And I was like, did you shoot that deer? And he's like, well, yeah, who else would have shot it? And I was like, I've been hunting that thing all year, and you're going to shoot it. And now it died in front of me. I was like I was happy for him, but I was like, you son of a gun. I was like, yeah.
He lets you feel aggressive.
I was like, I'm going home. You can deal with it. Put it in the truck yourself. Yeah.
Have fun with the guts, man.
Yeah.
See you later.
But yeah, like you said, like you're excited for your friends, but like at the same time, like it's a competition out there. Like
it is.
I will say something about, how being new within hero hunting to the industry. I enjoyed doing this for hero hunt more than I do participate in any events now. They took me out and they gave me a crash course in hunting, all this stuff. I enjoy sitting in the blind with the veteran now and the kids way more than I do going on the hunts now. I mean, I feel like, now I have all these connections and things that I can hunt anytime I want. Nothing's better than watching a kid shoot something. And Hero Hunt's great about that also. I'm going to keep going back to how great they are because that's why we're here. Veterans and first responders, well, I'm going to say veterans because they deploy for long periods of time, have lost so much time with their families. They have no way of gaining that back. Well, Hero Hunt goes out of their way to do as many youth hunts as they possibly can so that those dads or moms can sit in the blinds with their kids and get some of that time back.
We had one hunt this year at one of our board members has a piece of property, and he lets the kids come out there and hunt. And we had the adult hunt, and I think there was maybe 5 or 6 deer killed during the adult hunt. There was 13 for the youth hunt. Those kids.
Yeah, they don't understand, letting them grow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
If it's brown, it's down.
Yeah. But it's all right.
But they love it. So.
We have a really good sponsor by the name of Jim German out in West Tennessee. He bought a 1,200 acre farm.
Pretty much just for us to hunt.
Beautiful. And he bought it exclusively for Hero Hunt. He loves for the kids to come out there and just mow down everything. He doesn't care if it spikes. He doesn't care. I'm like, Jim, you're eventually going to run out of deer. And 5-6 years down the road now, they're still putting down 18, 19 monsters a year in West Tennessee.
Wow.
Tennessee's not known for monsters. As we go north. Somehow, some way, this guy just keeps doing it. It's not high fence. It's none of that stuff. So,
it's wide open.
I don't know. Grace of God, he's providing something.
Is he managing it?
This year he put like food plots and stuff on there. First year, yeah. But
he didn't care about food plots. He didn't care about anything. He didn't care about poachers.
What he cared about was people coming out there and having a good time.
Yeah,
that's what he cared about. He cared about people getting out there and enjoying their life.
When he first bought the property, we were hunting. We heard gunshots. So I was like, Jim, I think you got some people just coming onto your property and
he said,
well,
I hope they're having fun.
I hope they're having fun. Yeah, he doesn't care.
That's wild.
Which is, that doesn't mean go out there and find this property.
Yeah, I won't announce the address or anything because
I mean,
he's a great guy. Great guy.
People are going to poach no matter what. I mean,
that's exactly
it. I mean, it's a shame, but I'm back to that 10% of people who are bad and rooting for. I mean, that's part of hunting.
Yep.
And it's our job, as hunters, to educate these people.
I think the one morning I was out there and there's a swamp and I was hunting this one blind and I heard a volley of gunfire and I heard ducks quacking that I didn't see come out of the sky. And when I had a buck walk out, I blasted it and I heard people pack up really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And TWA pulled up as I was pulling out of the property and he's like, was that you duck hunting? And I was like, no, I was deer hunting. I was like, I got permission to be here. See, I'm coming out the gate. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, there were some duck hunters down there. I was like, did you catch them? He's like, no, you want me to? And I was like, well, yeah. And then I called the landowner to tell him, and he was like,
yeah.
And I was like, come on, we got to stop them somehow. Like in my head, I'm like, if we don't stop them, but the TWA guy told me that he knew who it was, and he's like, these are constant poachers around this area, and he's like, we've been after them, and they just keep doing it. Doesn't matter how many citations they get. Doesn't matter if they have their hunting licenses stripped or not. They're going to do it. So
I guess the moral of the story is. A lot of people out there just want to give back, and he's a prime example of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
hey, what's up, everyone? James Appleton here, co-founder of Absolute Aid. Welcome to the Seek to Do More program. This program will help you help yourself by developing the daily habits that will elevate your entire life. Over the next 30 days, you'll complete the doers list every single day. And the doers list includes 1, do something physical. 2, follow and stick to your diet of choice. 3, read a real book. 4, further your education on purpose. 5, dedicate time to your spiritual life. And 6, dedicate time to your hobbies. So if you're ready to take a structured, proven approach to build the daily habits that will allow you to get the most out of yourself, your time, and your life every single day, the Seek to Do More program is your blueprint. So make a choice, commit to yourself, sign up below, and let's get started.
Do you guys have any guys that you've hunted with or been around with Hero Hunt that have really had like great success through the program, like in the outdoors? Because it can change your whole perspective on life, man. It really can, and there's a lot of people it helps.
We deal with quite a few veterans that are in very dark places, suicidal, bad family life, alcohol, substance abuse. And over time, you can definitely see a lot of improvement. You get them out there on events, and we definitely, we have some events that, we do drink at. We have the opportunity to sit around a bonfire and have a drink at night and tell stupid stories. But we will definitely tailor our roster to those certain events that we know, because we have a lot of intel on everybody that we've had. Everybody that comes in, make sure that they're not dealing with certain things that they can't be around. If a guy is real standoffish to the gun, or his wife provides that, hey, I don't want my husband around guns, we'll invite him to an archery hunt. Or we know that there's substance abuse issues there, we'll make sure that that's a dry hunt. We do definitely try to make sure that our youth hunts are dry also. But at the same time, we know our audience. We're so close to our roster that we know who can be around certain things and who can't. So as far as the recovery, I see it every day. That's why I believe in believe so much about it. When I retired, I had every opportunity to go back to work, and I don't want to because I love volunteering for Hero Hunt, and because I see what the fruit of the labor.
Yeah, that's great. And well, from a lot of guys I know that have been in the military, that they basically have all across the board told me that the military does not set you up well to reintegrate back into society.
Yeah.
No job training.
Right.
They're like, yeah, I used to work on tanks. Like, how does that help me?
Well,
you could buy a tank, I guess, in the civilian world. It's probably just a lot of money.
I don't want to sit here and say my son's in the Marine Corps right now. He's in his 3rd year, and the Marine Corps has changed quite a bit since I was a young Marine. There's a lot of programs coming out of the military now that you have to hold yourself accountable and take advantage of those programs also. Yeah. So we can't sit here and say that they're not doing their part. There's huge room for improvement with transitioning out of the military, but they're doing what they can right now, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting at the point. Do you think when a lot of guys get out, they feel lost?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they go from being told what to wear and when to be there to
do whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Go find a job.
Yeah, go find a job, make money, pay your bills that you had that were getting paid because you got a paycheck every 1st and the 15th.
There's a program now called Skill Bridge that you can leave. You don't actually leave active duty, but you leave your unit and you go back into your hometown or whatever town you plan on moving to. And there's DOD approved programs with civilian companies that you can join for the last 6 months of your enlistment, where you're still getting paid, you're still getting full benefits, just as if you were on active duty, but you're home working in a civilian job.
That's good.
My son's going to do that here soon. So if you're a veteran listening to this, make sure that you explore all those opportunities when you leave the service. And Skill Bridge is one of those really successful programs. Mm-hmm. And it will put you back into a civilian community while in uniform or having been in uniform, and kind of transition you out a little easier than just, hey, make sure you're wearing your uniform the day you pick up these papers and have a shave. But as soon as you pick it up, we don't care no more. Mm-hmm. That's how it used to be. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't set anyone up well.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean,
it's almost like feeling like the military is like salty that you're leaving, so they're like, well, get out, like, here's this class on how to write a resume, and okay, now you're goodbye. Like, my resume says that I worked on like cryptological radio equipment. Who has that in the civilian sector? Like, okay, I can go work for AT&T. Okay.
The veterans or the active duty members that are leaving do need to hold themselves accountable, though. Yeah. There are thousands of resources out here that are available. They need to reach out and find it. They need to do their own homework. But there's a bit of anxiety about leaving also. So I know you're kind of distracted during that time. You really don't think about it until it happens. But you got to reach out. You got to hold yourself accountable, and you got to be, put your big boy pants on and know that you're leaving.
Yeah.
It's time to cut the umbilical cord.
Yep.
Uncle Sam's not going to take care of you no more.
It's on you.
So. And it's your choice to leave, typically. So, I mean, if you want to set yourself up for success and you know you're getting out, then you got to put the effort in. It's
programs like Hero Hunt can do that for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to come and hunt with us.
Yeah.
Call us up. Say, hey, man, you got somebody I can talk to?
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Easy day.
Yeah.
So what events you guys got coming up? I mean, how many hunts do you do a year? What, like, is it a big events? You just do a lot of localized?
I think the next big one is I'm hosting Cody over here, actually. Every year the TWRA or TWRF, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Federation, they do a Governor's One Shot Challenge. It's a big fundraiser for them where they have a turkey hunt on the opening day of turkey season, and everybody that enters goes and hunts, and then you have to be checked in by 4:00 in the afternoon. Then there's a big banquet with a live auction, and a bunch of really cool people show up, and it's pretty fancy. But Jack Daniels, one of our sponsors, has been awesome and pays our entry fee every year for a hunter. Cool. And so last year I did it. I got to go as a hunter 2-3 years ago,
3 years. And
then last year I decided to guide, and I got to guide a fella, and he killed a bird. And then, when I hunted it, I won. So,
you got the power.
It goes back to the beginning of this podcast when I told you he's the luckiest guy in the world. He won that one too.
So then I was like, well, let me guide next year because I killed a big bird. So certainly I'm a professional turkey hunter now. So
You must have sucked up all my luck because I never get in it either.
I have so many people that are like, let me get a beard hair. Like, that must be lucky beard hair. But so now this year I said I'd guide again. And Cody's going to come out with me and hopefully we can take the prize away from.
I mean, it's a huge event. Like I said, it's a governor's one shot. The governors of this event, all these big time sponsors and things like that. I mean, Bass Pro gave him a side by side that day for winning.
Woo, baby.
It's a $10,000 prize this year for if Cody wins.
Cash money. If the guide, whoever guides the biggest bird, that guide gets $2,500 cash. So you better believe I'm going to be chirping and purring and all that kind of stuff. And I will hoot to locate some birds and stuff like that. We're going to be doing all sorts of stuff.
That's just another way that Hero Hunts gets involved in anything they possibly can.
Yeah, so
venues are hard to find.
Right.
We got a lot of turkey hunts coming up. A lot of veterans going to be able to get out.
We also got a lot of hog hunts coming up in Alabama.
Yep.
Those will be like 3-day things.
We're looking 45, 50 events every year.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make it grow, but we have a lot of people that we have to get through also. So,
and that's what sets us apart from other places is we're trying, all those people on our roster, we want to try to get them on something every year. It's not like, hey, thanks for signing up. We're going to take you on a deer hunt. And then after the deer hunt, we're like, okay, don't ever contact us again. Because it's not going to happen. No, we want to bring you back. And we want to, if you want on a deer hunt this year, maybe we'll take you fishing next year. We want to take you duck hunting or we want to,
We feel it's a good strategy that every time we put together a group of veterans or first responders, say we have 6 hunters, we want 3 new guys, 3 old guys.
Yeah.
That's where the 3 old guys and 3 new guys. That way that the new guys have somebody there that's been there, done that, and you can help, make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's really important for new hunters too, is making them feel comfortable because it is super overwhelming if you've never done it before. I mean, I'm sure you can attest. You go, people are like, you need camo, you need a gun, there's different types of shot that you never heard of. You need to have like 18 different calls to hunt turkey, and you're like,
you don't have to worry about any of that when you come to Hero Hunt.
That's amazing.
We do it for you.
You literally call us, get a hold of us on social media, Google us. A guy named Pablo is going to call you, vet you a little bit, get a little paperwork from you, make sure you're not a serial killer. Yeah. We'll get you out on a hunt. If you don't,
you'll probably think Pablo's your best friend when he calls you because he talks to everybody like he's known you your whole life, and you're like, what? Who is this guy?
It's kind of important though because you don't want some robot on the other end.
Yeah,
it makes you feel standoffish. He's a retired Army first sergeant. That was
But you can find us on HeroHuntInc.org or Facebook or Instagram. So, and that's how you can sign up is on our website. So,
cool. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you guys do. I mean, having a family full of military members, I know I've seen this stuff firsthand. Yeah, and I'm glad that there are programs out there that combine, what I love hunting. Yeah. I'll argue this with anybody. I think it's the best thing that you can do. I mean, I've tried everything. Yeah. I've walked thousands of miles. I've kayaked hundreds of miles trying to figure out what I like to do. Now, I landed here, and I haven't left in 6 years. So, I mean, this is the thing.
Right.
I think so many people can benefit. But I want to appreciate everything you guys are doing. But what do you say we get geared up to go do this fishing tournament?
Yeah, you guys don't stand a chance. I'm going to win.
I told you I don't know how to spell bass. So we're going to get out there and I'm going to get some kind of line whip. But
I just got competitive right now.
Yeah.
I just got my hackles. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I'm not sharing your guys' enthusiam here. But we're going to be out there.
Yeah.
He's going to catch the biggest bass
you will watch. Before we go, though, can we one of our main things to be able to get more and more people out is we need places to go. So if any of your listeners have 5 acres, 2 acres, 500 acres, 50,000 acres, and they want to bring 1 or 10 or 15 people out there to allow us to hunt or fish or whatever, that's one of the big things that helps us expand and be able to reach more veterans and first responders.
And on the flip side of that coin, even if you don't have that, if you know a veteran, first responder that's struggling,
absolutely.
Now you have a resource that you can point them in the right direction.
So,
I mean, we can take venues and money and sponsorships and all this stuff all day long, exposure through your podcast. Mm-hmm. The mission is to identify those guys struggling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you identify them, have a resource in your pocket in order to point them in the right direction.
Yeah. We We were at the academy in Texas when we got off the plane, and we were looking for ammo, and I'm squatted down looking at 308, and I look over and I said, "Is that an EGA on your boots?" And I look up, and the guy's like, "Yeah." And I was like, and gave him a business card, and he instantly followed us on Instagram. And young Marine just got out, and he followed us on Instagram. Larry added him, and we said, "Hey, get a hold of us. Let's go hunting."
It's simply that easy. You recognize that there's every one of those guys are looking for something.
Yeah,
this is a young kid that just got out 2 years ago. He couldn't believe that 3 other Marines are just standing next to him on their way to hunt that run a nonprofit. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, I want to get involved. Let's do that."
Yeah, what it's all about, man.
So,
that's what it's all about. So, appreciate it, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Aptitude Outdoors podcast. If you're getting anything out of this, if you're learning something, if it's helped you in any way, go down in the link below and buy me a coffee. Throw me $1, throw me $2. We greatly appreciate it. Just using it to keep this ship afloat. So thank you very much. This episode was recorded live at the 2023 Hunt Fish Podcast Summit, where podcasters and guests from across the country come together to talk about their passions for hunting, fishing, and conservation. This year's summit is brought to you by Waypoint TV, Ron Hoover Marine of Galveston, Spot Stalker Guide Service, the Wild Sheep Foundation, Galveston Fishing Company, Captain Experiences, and Badger Claw Outfitters.